Hey guys, welcome to the Rat Grind channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is episode 34 of the Rat Grind channel. Now I'm going to give you guys some updates on the crypto bloodbath that's been happening today, as well as my ETF trade and a couple other news that I want to be able to share with you guys. So first and foremost, if you haven't done so, if this is your first time joining me on this channel, please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell on the left side of this video so you're notified every time I put out a new video. And the other thing too is please smash the likes. That helps support the channel and gets more people joining this channel so that they can be able to watch it and get the value that I try to provide from it as well. And also please leave your comments. Please give me your feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's any particular topics that you'd like me to cover. So I'd love to hear from you on this channel. I want to be I do cover mostly crypto and my ETF trading, but I have extensive plans to continue providing more content, such as opportunity niches, affiliate marketing, dropship business, also e-commerce, internet marketing, book reviews, leadership, and all that stuff. So this is basically a channel that I use to keep myself accountable as I make the most out of my journey out of the rat race. I work full time. I'm a head of marketing of a fashion brand, and I also do plenty of businesses on the side to be able to continue improving myself and continue working my way so that I can be able to provide the lifestyle that my family deserves. All right, so let's get right to some of the stuff that I'm going to be giving you guys today. So first of all, just to give you a daily rundown of what happened today. So I'm going to be today I re-entered my bearish trade on natural gas. It's quite risky what I did, but I went back into it because I just strongly felt that the trend was going to be bearish, especially with the news that's going to come out tomorrow morning with the natural gas. Usually the opposite happens. The bull ETF usually pumps every Thursday, but I feel that there are just some news and some technical opportunities that I see that would play into my favor. Again, I put my stop losses in place and I'm willing to risk to lose some money, but I strongly feel that I could make some gains. So we'll see if that turns out to be the right call. Please don't copy my trade because it is risky, because I'm betting my own money in this particular trades that I do. Whether it's on cryptocurrencies or whether it's on ETF and any of the business that I do, please use it as inspiration so that you can be able to consider doing your own research and look at the opportunities that I'm doing. So today, I've been researching new affiliate and dropship niches that I want to be able to get into. I'm working on my comprehensive crypto course that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Hopefully I can do a lot of work over the coming weekend because it is a long weekend, being a Memorial Day on Monday. So I'll have a 3-day weekend so that I can be able to focus on putting in more work, putting more of the rat grind so that I can be able to continue to provide you guys more value. And I'm doing some business planning today because, like I said, there's a lot of things that I'm doing. This channel is just my way to sort of diary some of the things that I'm doing. Although recently I'm just giving you guys my crypto updates and stuff like that, but I'm working on a lot of things. I read books, like I'm working on this particular book right now, .com Secrets. I also have the Expert Secrets from Russell Brunson. This is more tactical, so I'm doing some business planning so that I can build some funnels and stuff like that, because I have a lot of different businesses that I'm currently engaged in. So I'll give you guys an update on those things when the time is right, so that I don't overwhelm you guys. I want to try to focus a little bit so that I can be able to get you guys started at least before we dabble into many other things. So now it's now on to some practical coin news, right? So the crypto prices is being influenced by emotion and mood. There's an article that I'd like to share with you guys about that. We'll discuss it. And also, I read an article today that banks are losing international payment business to cryptos. That's really, really good news. And Coinbase Pro which launched today or announced the launch today, will allow trading of altcoins. So that's huge news. Bitcoin fundamentally, according to a top expert, is fundamentally safer than banks, and we'll get right on why they feel that is. And I will also give you guys an update. I know yesterday at the end of the video, I gave you guys some news on the planned rollbacks to the 2008-2010 law that was put in place here in the US by the government to sort of combat what happened in 2007 to 2010 with the irresponsible trading, irresponsible opportunities that the banks got into. Like, if you haven't watched the movie Big Short, that is all about that. They basically invested in default loans loans that eventually defaulted, and that caused a big market crash, and so the government had to bail them out. So I read up more today about it so that I could be able to get a little bit more information on what the benefits are of why they actually looked at pushing this law. There are definitely some benefits to it, so I'll get right into that, but also there are some big drawbacks that can potentially haunt us in the future. All right, guys, so let's get right on it. So so the first thing I want to be able to get into is my natural gas position. So this is the natural gas excuse me. So this is the natural gas futures chart that we're looking at, is /NG. As you can see, in today, let me zoom in here. It's been on a really good uptrend, right? But it's been oversold. And as you can see, historically speaking, when it has been oversold in the past, if you can see the RSI indicators, so this is not just fluff, but yes, it does go up. But as you can see, every time that it becomes oversold, it corrects, it retraces and goes back down. Here it did that again, it did that again here, and currently the last time it did it was over here. So as you can see, every time that happens, that was about here, what happens is it drops back into this 20-day moving average. That's what I was hoping for, that would happen here when I took that trade, but it didn't drop down enough, and it continued to sell off. So I lost a lot of money on that particular trade, but I got back into it today when I saw that it was it was going up, because it didn't correct enough. As you can see here, it went back up into this bullish trend. So I'll show you guys the actual. So DGAS, right? So let's look at the 5-minute chart. So as you can see, it dropped down today, and it went back up a little bit, and it bounced off this this 20-day moving average line, EMA line, and it's sort of consolidating, but it's pointing up, right? When I got into it, it was pointing up here, and it was on the oversold level. So I'm swing trading that, and I'm gonna see what happens tomorrow. Again, this is quite risky because I'm not sure, because usually I did this exact trade, actually the opposite trade, last Thursday when I got into the ETF UGAS, and what happened there was, it pumped and it went back down, but I was able to sell and take profits. But this time I'm looking at the quite opposite, because I really feel that the news is very bearish. There's a lot of natural gas is overproduced right now, and so I really feel that it's going to retrace. And when that happens, this inverse ETF of DGAS, which is, which works on the natural gas futures, will pump back up. I'm looking at being able to see if it can go up to, best case scenario, back to the $25 line. So if that happens, then I would have been able to recover the losses that I have. But if it pulls back to this line right here, this low VWAP line of about $22, then I'm gonna take my loss, and I'm gonna put my stop limit there and take the loss if I have to. And yesterday we talked about the oil, right? And that actually did happen, as you can see. Let me just show you guys a little bit what happened here. No, let's look in here. Drip. So as you can see, this is the bullish. This is the bearish ETF of oil, because of the prices going up, because oil prices have been going up, right? But today it pumped up, but then it corrected down again, and it went close to its opening price. So it got rejected, and then it went back down. But that's something that I'm going to look forward to tomorrow as well. See if that can be able to recover, and see if that would bounce back up, and I might get into that position if my DGAS position does not do well. All right, so that's what to look forward to. I'm going to give you guys an update tomorrow. I have a meeting tomorrow that I'm going to be going into, so I might do the video a little bit later than normal. But I'm going to try to get it as soon as I can tomorrow, and I'll give you guys an update on all of this. All right, so let's get to the crypto market, guys. So as you can see, everything is bleeding red today. Bitcoin lost 3.71%, Ethereum 6.19%, Ripple XRP 4.2%, Bitcoin Cash, one of the biggest downfalls, is 7.31%, and EOS, as you can see over here, it's taken a big haircut in the last couple of days and last weeks. As you can see, overall crypto market, like Monero is doing good. I mean, it's green. There's quite a bit of green all over this particular chart. You can check this chart out at coin360.io. It's provided by Cointelegraph. So it kind of gives you an overall picture of what's happening in the market, so sort of like a heat map, so that you don't have to go to chart by chart. It gives you sort of an overview. So that's how it looks today. Let's get it right on coin market cap. As you can see, today's market cap is $340 billion. The 24-hour volume is up $21 billion, but there's a lot of sell-off. That volume, consists of buys and sells. So right now there's a lot of bearish sentiment, and the bears have taken over the market, and there's a lot of heavy pressure. As you can see, Bitcoin dropped down to 7,700. What I'm looking to see here, I wanted to move back up in the next couple days to above 7,900, or even back to 8,000. If it does that, then that's a good sign of the continued long-term bull sentiment that we will get back into, right? But if it breaks down and it stays within under 7,800, then we may hit 7,000 and even go lower. So we'll see how that all works. I erased my charts that I'll show you today. I completely erased my my Bitcoin charts, so that we can start fresh, because again, the sentiment, the trend that we were looking at the last couple months, it no longer applies, because it's broken down all those, and it's no point to keep looking at that chart, because it's a whole different sentiment in the market, right? Ethereum tested way below 500 today. It recovered a little bit and went back up again to 600, but today it went, let's see how low it went today. So let's look at the one-day chart. So as you can see, it went down all the way to about $572, and it recovered back, as you can see. But again, that's really, really tough, because it just in the last week or so, it went from about 700 all the way down to 576. So it lost over $150 almost. So that's not a great thing. But overall, it's been, it's still within the range that we're looking at, but there's definitely a lot of bullish sentiment, because it went back up to 600. That is a very positive sign, because it means that the bulls found an opportunity to be able to buy it up and push the price back up. But if it doesn't hold, the bears are going to short it and take it all the way down to, it may even hit 450. So that's something that we don't want to happen, but we'll see if that transpires over the weekend, we'll have to watch out. I'll keep reporting on this. Although it's a long weekend, I'll have a lot of time to be able to post videos. I want to post other videos. I want to get back into my book reviews that I'm going to share with you guys. So in between those, I'm going to be able to share you what happens this weekend overall in the market. So let's get right onto the chart, guys. So let's start with Ethereum first, right? I wanted to show you this. I didn't erase my chart here because I wanted to show you what's happening here. So like I told you, there's very strong level of support right here on the 600 line. As you can see, it popped back down. I mean, it popped down. It broke the 15-day exponential moving average line right here, the blue line, and it broke down, but it got bought up. So it's within this particular range. I drew the support out, and it's within that range. If it doesn't hold, then we can go down all the way to about $500, which we don't want. So I want to see how this chart plays out in the next couple of days, if we could be able to bounce back up. If we could be able to bounce back up here, then potentially that's going to be a good sign. But something I want to be able to show you guys, just to give you guys perspective. All right, so let's look at the monthly charts, right? As you can see, guys, if we do the monthly charts, we are still in a bullish, a bullish sentiment, right? If we're looking at long term, right, we're still going up, guys, right? Let's look at the 1-day chart and zoom out, just so that it can give you guys a little bit of perspective here. Because sometimes when these things happen, we tend to lose sight of the overall picture, right? So as you can see here, we are actually supposed to hit where we're hitting, right? So 3 touches, 1, 2, 3, and then over here there's 4. Let me zoom in. So as you can see, we touched right there, right on the button, right? And we bounced, and it's going back up. So we hope that momentum continues, but if not, then we'll have to see what happens. But as you can see here, it's currently forming a wedge here. So we'll see. Usually when that happens, it's going to push back up here, might consolidate down there. It can potentially push back up. So we'll have to see what happens there, guys. So let's look at Bitcoin. As you can see, I completely erased all the charts that I've been doing because what I want to show you guys is I want to show you guys the big picture, right? As you can see, overall, we are still in a big, we're still going up, guys. As you can see, if we look at the overall trend of the market, we're still quite, over the long-term period, pretty bullish, and we're hitting where we're supposed to be hitting. Now, if it breaks down this line right here, if it goes down to, like 6,000, 5,000, then that's a completely different story. But right now, overall, we're still in a good bullish sentiment long term, but it's just a short term that sometimes we lose focus on, that we lose sight of the overall trajectory of this market. So as of right now, it's down, it's up to about 7,600, right? So it's been bought up. It touched this line. I drew up this line earlier, and seeing if that would bounce, because I saw the wick there, and then it turned green. So that's a very good sign, because right now it's oversold. As you can see, you might not see it here. I'm sorry, guys. There. You can see the RSI line here. It's completely oversold on this is the 4-hour chart, 180-day 4-hour chart. So it's currently oversold. So that's why it got bought up. So hopefully if it goes back up here, then we can get back to this line and see a good level of support, and we can, get back into better days, right? It's trading right below the 15-day exponential moving average. And with that said, if that momentum breaks up and then bounces, then that's a great thing, because we'll be able to count it that it's going to go back up. But Again, we needed to get back up to about 70, 7,900, 8,000 level relatively quickly in the next couple of days, because if not, then we will continue a downtrend, and that's something that we don't want to happen. All right. So the first bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys, but before I do that, I want to show you this particular video that I found very, very interesting. It's about a minute 13 seconds. It's more of a visual video. It's more of a visual video than it is music. I mean, a talking video. So bear with me. I'm going to share this with you guys and play it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you found that interesting. I saw that video on my Facebook account today, and it was so relevant because as I was thinking about today, what was happening today, and I was reading a particular article, and this just happened. I saw this video on my Facebook. I watched it, and I was clicking around my feed, looking at my Telegram, looking at the news, and then I saw this chart. And I saw this article, right? It said cryptocurrency prices influenced by emotions and mood more than economic factors, says a study, right? This is on independent.co.uk. It's a publication in the UK. They did the study, and they said that the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies is determined by mood of investors rather than any economic indicators, according to this particular study. So Daniel Bianchi, an assistant professor of finance at Warwick Business School, they found about patterns for the 14 largest cryptocurrencies, and it reflected past returns of investors. And they combined the hype and emotion, and they looked at how the value of all these cryptocurrencies rose and fell, right? So let me read you a quote here. The study, the paper that they published, I haven't found the paper. I have to look for it. I haven't had a chance to look for it, but it's called Cryptocurrencies as an Asset Class, an Empirical Assessment. So the quote says, there is research showing limited similarities between Bitcoin and gold, but looking across the 14 biggest cryptocurrencies, the high volatility of their price means that they can hardly be seen as a reliable savings instrument in the short term, let alone the long or medium term. So that's very bearish sentiment on the overall crypto market, because they were trying to see if the crypto markets related to gold. Like I told you guys, what I've seen is whenever the economy is doing well, gold prices or silver prices tend to go down because there's less of a need for it. Now, when the prices of everything, the market, the stock market, the economy of the US is going down, like we're going to a recession, then the price of gold goes up because people are looking for, I guess, more valuable asset that can withstand long-term downturns, right? So that's usually what happens, and they're trying to look for similarities between Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and that happening, and it's not the case. Like today, some of the news, I mean, I'm not even picking the news that I'm sharing with you guys. I'm not intentionally going to be sharing with you guys bullish news. It's just, it is what it is. It's the news that's happening in the markets, right? And it's this, I'm not just picking news, like I said. This, it just so happened that these are the reality of the news. And right now, the market is still red. So it's really hard to digest all of this stuff. It's hard to predict, like I was telling you, the reason I'm I'm getting into that natural gas position is because I really feel, based on the news that's out there, based on the trends, that natural gas is it's overproduced. I just felt that it's a time for bearish sentiment to set in. But with crypto, it's kind of weird because all the news that I hear is positive, but then we still have a sell-off. It's the reason is because, like I told you guys the last couple of videos, is because the bullish sentiment regarding the regulatory inconsistencies, or the regularity. I mean, the lack of clarity on regulation that's been happening. And then there's a crypto sweep that happened yesterday where they basically tried to weed out all the bad actors, bad coins within the crypto space, which is a very, very positive thing. But of course, people, they get scared and they sell off. When they sell off, stop losses are in place, stop limits are in place. Those stop limits get hit. I tell you guys all the time, it causes the downturn because everybody's trying to protect. They're not used to the volatility of the crypto space. If everybody was, then everybody would just hold. But that's not the case. Like for me, for example, I'm holding my positions, although I could have sold. Like I told you guys, I was still holding on some Ethereum trades that I did, and it's down. I mean, I bought it at around this price, but I haven't made money, and I didn't trade it out because I felt that it was going to go up because the technology is just there. But there's just emotions and mood that play into the market when when people get scared, they just sell. So that's sort of what's happening. That's why I thought that the herd mentality of that video, like sort of one person does this, and then you see this avalanche of news, and then they just start doing that. They just go sell off, or they're gonna all go buy in. So like I told you guys, we really need to understand the coin. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing, that I'm currently doing right now, but I want to make sure I give you the best information out there, is I'm going to go through every single coin that, I mean, at least starting with the top 10, going down to the top 20, and then top 100. I want to go through all those coins and give you my own take on them, why I find value in them, why I don't find value in them. I'm going to tell you guys that. I'm going to tell you some of the criteria that I use when I invest in some ICOs. And I'm going to apply that same methodology in analyzing those investments. The only difference is when you invest in ICOs, there's nothing, majority of the time. Sometimes newer projects have an MVP. An MVP means a minimum viable product. But a lot of times in the past, it's just a white paper. You're just betting on a white paper, which anybody could write a white paper. I could make a white paper and sell you on it. But it means absolutely nothing. So there are some coins that react because of, project milestones that they're hitting. But there's just some coins that have none of that because they don't exist yet. They're still working on it, or they're just ideas at the moment. So I'm going to review them together. I'm going to give you some of my takes. I'm doing a lot of research, getting people's opinion, so that I want to be able to really give you not just my opinion, but a little bit more general information, not only from myself, but the overall crypto markets and experts in general. So it's taking a little bit more time. I'm going to get back on that once I finish once I finish my course. I keep thinking of new stuff to share with you guys, so I can never finish the course because I'm thinking, I know this might be useful for you guys, like explaining certain topics, but then that opens up a whole new can of worms because, like today, I was working on a topic about how the hashing algorithm works, and then I thought about the Byzantine fault tolerance. Like, okay, well, I need to discuss that with you so it gives you guys context on on what it is that why do we need the proof of work or these consensus algorithms, right? So I'm going to give you that information, but like going back to the topic, I think that we really need to understand more of the projects that we're investing in so that we can have a better sound mind and sound emotions when we're dealing with these things. We're actually not just selling it off because Bitcoin is going down, so everything is going to go down. We just sell everything because that's what's happening. So we don't want that to continue to happen as this market matures. But I think once the institutional investors really pump their billions, then it will be out of our hands. So I think it's still a great, really good time to buy more, to accumulate more. That's what I'm doing. But for you to be able to do that, you really need to understand the projects. Probably this weekend, I'm going to give you some of the projects, maybe my top 5 cryptos that are sort of under the radar, that I think have a lot of value. And one of them is Zilliqa. I have a lot of positions in Zilliqa because I really believe in that particular project. But I'll give you guys my maybe top 5, and see. I'll tell you guys why. So let's move on to the next particular topic that we're going to discuss. The next bit of news that I want to share with you guys was I was reading this on NewsBTC today. It said that banks lose international payment business to disruptive solutions like the blockchain, right? So they say that transaction banking, it continues to face pressure from a lot of this new disruptive technology. And that's what blockchain is. It's, as Uber disrupted the taxi industry, as Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry, right? Blockchain is disrupting the financial sector. And now with blockchain 2.0, with smart contracts, with Ethereum and all these new cryptocurrencies that are trying to solve scaling, it's just not disrupting the financial sector, but it's going to disrupt a lot of things. It could disrupt Facebook. It could disrupt Google. It could disrupt a lot of different industries. Lawyers could get disrupted because of all this programmable contracts that you can now put in place, right? There's also notaries that you don't need anymore, right? And surveys would get more accurate because they become immutable. No one can tamper with them. And there's a lot of disruption that's going to happen. But right now, the main focus of what's happening, because of the major cryptocurrencies that we have, like Bitcoin, that are already successful, the banking industry is in denial. They say, oh, blockchain is this, blockchain is that, cryptocurrencies are not here, they're scams, they're FUD. I mean, they're nothing, they have no intrinsic value and all this stuff. But then again, I just read today that Bank of America patented more blockchain related technologies. JP Morgan is getting into this. Goldman Sachs, like I told you guys, is well into the crypto space. So these people need to get their acts together, because they say, just on this particular thing, I'm going to highlight this. Over the last year, banks have lost 40% market share from consumer to consumer cross-border payments to non-banks. That is huge, guys. Think about that. I mean, with Ripple, like today, I'm not sure when it actually happened, but I saw Ashton Kutcher give $4 million worth of XRP Ripple to the Ellen DeGeneres show for her wildlife conservation project and foundation, right? That's $4 million that it just gave away using cryptocurrencies, using XRP to transfer it, right? So that was big news. Let me read you guys a quote here from this particular article. Go ahead and read it more when you guys have time. But it says that it worries me that banks believe this. Far too many leaders in the space are missing the forest for the trees, right? You're focusing on like tunnel vision, like only what's in front of you, and not looking at the perspective outside to see the larger picture at play. That's why on the Bitcoin chart, I went ahead and showed you guys, I zoomed out and showed you guys, come on, if they say that there's no value here, why is it still on an uptrend overall long term? Although there's a correction that's happening, which everything corrects, right? So they said that shrugging off advances is not important. There's banks are shrugging off advances, not important to their business objectives today or in the future. I mean, the top billionaires are saying it's a FUD. It's useless, right? They're all giving out these FUDs, but it's gonna happen sooner or later. They're gonna realize, and they won't. A lot of these bigger banks, they get it. That's why these bigger banks, they're getting their grips into cryptocurrencies. They're getting their hands on it before it's too late. But a lot of the smaller banks and maybe some other countries that don't get it, they're going to be left in the dust. So the last quote here was, the traditional banking infrastructure is falling and banks need to employ new technology today to remain competitive, because payments are just the beginning. Losing payments leads to losing a lot more, right? That's from Ripple, guys. So he added that. So that's very, very amazing news. So let's get right on to the next news. So like I told you guys, Coinbase Pro launched today. They acquired Paradex, and that's probably why, as you can see, 0rx was one of the few. Oh, Steam actually recovered. Wow, that's pretty good. That's really good. I mean, Steam is a utility coin that you can be able to use, right? Using the Steam platform. But 0rx, as you can see, pumped about 13.90% today, and that's related to the Paradex acquisition, because 0rx allows you to trade ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. That's what it does. And Coinbase came out with the news a couple months ago that they've implemented an open to trading ERC20 tokens, or adding ERC tokens to their database. So that's probably why they were doing that with the acquisition of Paradex. They're not calling it a decentralized exchange because they can't. They're calling it a bulletin board. I think that's what they're calling it. Crypto bulletin board, like an index, because you're not really, when you trade using the Paradex platform, which is going to be in the Coinbase Pro platform, which basically GDAX is going to become obsolete. So in the meantime, they're going to combine GDAX and Coinbase Pro together, right? So what happens is, instead of you trading and depositing your coin, you don't have to. So then it's not going to act as an exchange anymore, because it becomes like you two are exchanging, but Coinbase doesn't actually handle the buy and sell. So that's essentially how decentralized exchanges work. So 0rx is going to be a good solution for that, and it plays right into that particular thing. And that's why it probably pumped, because people are speculating, again, emotions, right? People are speculating that it could be added to Coinbase's cryptocurrency options, right? It pumped, I think, all the way to $1.50 today. At the beginning of the day, it was, I think, $1 or $1.10, and it pumped all the way to $1.50. They announced Coinbase Pro right on their blog. As you can see, they said that all transaction and balances from GDAX will automatically appear in Coinbase Pro, and then a completely redesigned platform that will make the trading experience easier and more intuitive. I sure hope that they don't charge you like they do now. If you're a market maker on Coinbase, on GDAX, that's how I buy my crypto. If you are a market maker, whether you're selling or buying, you don't have to pay the fees. So I hope that remains true. So we'll see how that works. But I guess this is the Coinbase Pro platform. I don't see the other currencies that I'm gonna need, but I'm gonna check that out this weekend and see how this all turns out. All right. So the next bit of news that I want to be able to share with you guys, like I told you guys, Weiss rating. right? He said that they said that cryptocurrencies will become fundamentally safer than banks. So the founder of Weiss Rating, Martin Weiss, has forecasted that an upcoming rule change in the U.S. banking will compel investors to move their money. This is tied to the last bit of news that I'm going to share with you guys, the rolling back of some of those regulations, and it ties into this. There's a spotlight on Volcker rule change timing. So the Volcker rule, just so that you guys know, so the Volcker rule refers to a part of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. This is basically the law that they're trying to reverse right now. Originally proposed by American economist and former United States Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker to restrict United States banks from making certain kinds of speculative investments this is cut off, but basically what it says here that do not benefit their customers, just like investing in those mortgaged backed securities that flopped and caused a massive downturn because they just kept selling bad loans to another bank, and that bank's packaged it off with other bad loans to other banks. So they'll take some good loans, package it up with some bad loans, and then re-rate that and sell that off. So they kept doing that, and until the bubble popped. You talk about a bubble, that was a big bubble, right? And they kept doing that. So that's what they're saying, that's going to affect why cryptocurrencies will be a much safer bet than it is banks, because for Bitcoin, for all of these, you know what you're getting, right? So he said that with this rule change, the authorities will make it easier for mega banks to take big risks with other people's money. Other people's money is our money, guys. That's what that means. Other people's money is our money. As I told you guys before in many previous videos, you really have to know how the banking system works. A lot of us just go on our day, we work hard, we put our money in the bank, and we sign into our phone, and we check online, and we see like, oh, we got $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever the case may be. But realistically, you don't have that money. You do not have that money. For every dollar that you put into the bank, up to 90%, which is about 90 cents of that dollar that you deposited, is being used by the banks to lend. And that's what the Dodd-Frank, part of the Dodd-Frank law was trying to curb, so that they don't use that as crazy. Of course, what they did though, because a lot of these things are very reactive, right? They just react and they do harsh things. They don't really think about it. But a lot of this, although it put the big banks, the mega banks in check, what it did was the smaller regional banks, the credit unions, also fell into that hole where they couldn't lend money to their consumers, lend money and make money so that they can support their local community, local economy. So they should just break those off and deal with them separately, right? So that is something that I think, our lawmakers really need to figure out. But again, a lot of the lawmakers, what they do is it's just all politics, guys. I mean, if you don't realize it, it's pretty sad what happens. They will have a law, they will have a benefit that you all like. Like, let's say, for example, I'm not giving you guys my opinion on this, but I'm just giving you guys an example. Let's say, for instance, you are pro marriage, pro divorce. Let's say, for example, right? Removing divorce. I mean, you don't like divorce, right? You don't want to give that to other people. And then let's say the rest of the United States doesn't like divorce. So they're going to pass a law to ban divorce, just for example, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying, imagine that. What they'll do is, because they know that all of us supposedly don't like divorce. Now, that one law, they will pad with 50 other laws that we probably don't understand. And when that law is passed, all you will see on TV, all you will see on these news is like, oh, this law protects you. This law will give you the option to not ruin your kids' lives by having a divorce, by living a Christian life, by not having a divorce. So it will make you think before you get married, stuff like that, right? It'll give you some BS marketing spiel, and then all that they will do is then they will just throw in those other laws that you probably don't agree with, and they're going to pass it. And that's exactly what happens in laws today. Every time they raise that debt ceiling that we talked about towards the beginning of this channel, when I shared with you guys how they keep raising the debt ceiling, they raise the debt ceiling because they need other laws that are passed. So they use that as a hostage situation for all of us, because we need the government to continue to function, or else the government is the biggest employer in the whole United States. So if the government shuts down, then what happens? So okay, well, the government can't shut down, so we'll raise the debt ceiling. Why don't you shut it down and not have and don't shut it down, but go out and live within our means? But no, that's not going to happen, like I said, because money doesn't work that way. So it's just pretty sad, right? It's just pretty sad. So the last bit of news that I'll be share with you guys was this Dodd-Frank rollback, right? So it said that it could haunt us. This is an article from New York Times today. They said the 3 ways that it can haunt us is it's less stressful test for banks. Because banks had to go through stringent tests so that they would make sure that they're protecting us, that they're not being irresponsible with the way they practice their business, right? So the stress test will be alleviated, so that will cause them to again be negligent on their actions that they take with our money, right? And the other thing was it kills off the living wills, right? Part of the Dodd-Frank was banks needed a detailed plan if they had to be closed. If the bank was going to go bankrupt, they needed to keep what you call a living will on how they will function, so that it does not affect the financial system. So that's going to go away as well. So the third thing is we're going to be back to risky real estate, guys. All those all those billions, trillions of dollars in real estate that are just based on adjustable rate mortgages and stuff like that. Maybe not exactly those things, but I'm sure they're going to find a loophole. Their lawyers are going to find a loophole to figure this out and then get back into those irresponsible trading, right? So there's just 5 things. There's just another article from Money Watch, CBS News. The 5 things that you need to know about the new bill, right? So much of Dodd-Frank, this is a good thing. The much of Dodd-Frank is preserved. The the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that's basically the consumer watchdog, is going to still be in place. So that will still look out for the protection of us regular consumers. And of course, the smaller banks will get the relief from the Volcker rule, because again, they were tied into that whole thing, so they weren't able to do it. But like I said, because they're going to be the smaller banks are going to get relief, so will the big banks. They didn't really the big banks don't get relief, but the small banks get relief. So they didn't really think about it that. That's why some of the Democrats support it. And again, they tied back into this the right to freeze credits because of the Equifax hack, the data breach that happened, where it was insane, right? It was insane. Like my credit was messed up. I mean, my identity is out there because of the Equifax data breach, and nothing really happened. What did they do? They should be paying us. They should be fixing our credits if it all gets jacked up, right? But they're not going to do that. But now they put into the law the right for you to freeze your credit without having to pay anything. Because before, you had to pay $10 to each of the 3 credit reporting agencies. There's like Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, right? So you don't have to pay those anymore, the $10 fee to freeze your credit report. So that's a good thing. But like I told you guys, they will roll back something and introduce something new. But the rollbacks, they won't really focus on the cons of it. They will focus only on the benefits of the new law. So it will just pass without much problems. That's the only way that they could get bipartisan support, right? So that's what's happening, guys. So let's see how this plays out in our lives, in our markets, and how it is going to be in the future. And that's why I think decentralization, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and all this stuff is really going to change the future, because it prevents all of these negligent people that are playing with our lives, playing with our finances, playing with our opportunities, based on what they think is the best. You know, if the majority of people think something is right, doesn't make it right for me, doesn't make it right for you, doesn't make it right for all of us. It makes it right for the majority of us, but it doesn't make it right for all of us. So us, sometimes the minorities don't really get a say anymore, right? Like, for example, I live in California, and whoever I vote for president, it doesn't really matter, because California will vote for who you normally a Democrat. If you live in Texas, if you're a Democrat at that time, it don't matter, because Texas is going to vote Republican. It doesn't always happen, but historically speaking, that's the case. So then you say, what's the point in voting? What's the point? Because I'm not going to choose the president anyway. I'm not saying I'm Democrat or Republican. I'm just saying that this does happen. If you're from New York always pretty much votes a Democrat president. That's why there's all those swing states that they fight for. Ohio, like what is it, like Florida, Utah, Maryland, a lot of these other states that usually are swing states that they can vote either one way or the other way. But so then they choose who the president would be. How right is that? I'm not saying what we're doing right now is wrong, but I'm just saying that's just my opinion. So things happen for our lives that we really need to take control of. We can't let other people decide what's best for us. We need to be able to find the opportunity to succeed ourselves, really study, put into our minds what it is that we need to be able to succeed in life, and seize those opportunities, and not let anybody else say, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're not going to do. You need to be able to open up your minds and really understand what opportunities you have in place. We are living in one of the greatest time in known history, where a regular person like you and me can trade cryptocurrencies 24 hours a day. If you want to wake up at 3 a.m., you can go make an opportunity, study the coin, look at the market, study how to trade properly. You are going to make money. Guaranteed. You are going to make money. You may not make money, but if you make the right call, you are going to make money. I'm not saying you're going to make money, but I'm just saying that if you study the coins and you make the right calls, money is made every single day. Like looking at the chart, like we said, like imagine if you traded this let's see here, QBC. Let's just say you knew about QBC. You put money in there, you would have earned 3.36%. So if you had $1,000, that would be $33 that you would have earned, right? If you traded XMR, 14%. If you traded CNNC, 3%. And the stock market is the same. Or if you went ahead and learned affiliate marketing, you find a product on ClickBank, find something like that you find that you can relate to. Like, for example, for me, sleep apnea is a big problem for me. So I do sleep apnea related stuff because that makes sense to me, and you make money from that. So there's opportunities out there. You really just have to find what opportunity is there for you. There's no reason for you not to make money. There's no reason for us to be broke, guys. Sometimes we get broke because things happen, but we can't be poor. There's no reason for us to be poor. Think about it. Here in America, the rich gets benefits and the poor gets benefits. But the middle class, like you and me, usually don't get anything. We pay the most. So that's kind of sucks, but that's just something I just wanted to share my sentiment about that with you guys, so that you can understand the perspective that I have and why I'm doing this Rat Grind channel, why I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing. I already have a full-time job. I can just not work. I mean, I work, but I can just do that. Like majority of you guys, that's probably what you do. You do your day job and that's it. You get home, get a beer, watch TV, watch the NBA playoffs, and sit down on your couch and do nothing else. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a great thing. If that works for you, if that's what you feel is success, by all means continue to do that. For me, my basis for success is my kids not having to think about the stuff that I have to think about. And so that's why I'm working hard, so that I can be an example for my kids. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not saying what I'm doing is right. I'm not saying what I'm doing is right for everybody, what everybody should do, but it's right for me. So you need to find what's right for you and actually do that. Don't let anybody stop you and say, don't do this or don't do that. Don't let your family, your friends, anybody tell you something that you have decided that you yourself can do. All right, that's all the message that I have today. I know the video is a lot longer today. It's almost an hour. This is probably the longest video I've ever recorded. Is almost midnight here in Southern California, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer. And I'm sorry that I took too long of your time. I hope that my little rant towards the end of this video didn't dissuade you from some of my views and stuff like that. But if it did, I'm so sorry. But that is what it is. I'm trying to be transparent with you guys. That's exactly how I feel. All right. Well, thank you again so much for your time today. I hope you found value in this particular video. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and please comment below. Let me know how you feel. Let me know your sentiment. Let me know you agree with me. Let me know or if you disagree with me or you agree with me. Let me know your comments and your feedback. I would definitely appreciate it, so that I know where my audience is and what it is that you guys find value in. All right. Well, I think until I see you guys on the next video, I wish you and your family a success-filled day. Love you guys. Good night. Bye.